Hey guys, Dantics here. We finally get to deep dive into the last character to be revealed in Borderlands 3, Flak the Beastmaster. Flak is an emergent AI that uses pets and tech to reap havoc on the battlefield. In this video, I'll be taking you through all of Flak's skills, some builds, and give you an idea if you want to run him come release, which is damn soon. Keep in mind, I've actually played Flak, but I'm currently not able to show you the footage I recorded of it until a later date, so keep your eyes peeled to this channel. Be sure to tell me below what character you're planning to run and what build. Be sure to follow my Twitter and Discord for updates and do the standard YouTube stuff. It really helps me out. So Flak is unique in that they can have one of 3 pets out at any given time and one of 3 abilities equipped. Both of these can be from different skill trees and you can mix and match. You are basically a Pokemon master, as each pet type has 2 evolutions the further you invest down the skill tree. Pinging is going to be your best friend, besides your loyal pet that is, as it's used to command your pets to attack specific targets or to move to specific places. They will attack on their own, but they're more effective when you command them. So besides pinging, you can also issue an attack command with a different button, and that makes your pet do a unique attack based on which one you have out. Finally, if you're a treasure hunter, your pet will notify you when it finds rare chests. That's a good boy. How Flak's pets will be late game is still unknown. I haven't played the real late game yet. However, I do know they scale with your damage and they're powerhouses early and mid game. So let me start by going through all of the pets and abilities first, so you know how the skill trees will affect one another. So the first skill tree is the Hunter skill tree, and it's focused around making Flak a crit-based killing machine. I want to truly test this one out, but I only got to play on the controller and I'm much better with a mouse. The first pet is the Spider Ant. It passively causes Flak to regenerate 1% of your max health per second, and if you use the attack command, it will charge at the target you selected by rolling at them. The skill tree's ability is Rack Attack. When you activate it, Flak will send out 2 racks that home in on the enemy and do high damage on a low cooldown. You'll also start with 2 charges on this ability, so you don't need to use it sparingly. The next skill tree is called Master, and it's based around making your pet the dominating force on the battlefield. The pet on this tree is the Guard Skag, which will increase Flak's damage by a set amount. When you issue the Skag an attack command, it will use a ranged acid vomit attack. The ability attached to this tree is Gamma Burst. When you activate the skill, it will create a portal, instantly teleporting your pet to the location in a radiation-based damage burst. If you've used the longbow mods for your grenades before, you know how this works. Also, your pet will become irradiated, growing in size and dealing bonus radiation damage. The cool thing about this ability is that if your pet is downed or dead, it will revive the pet at the location with 30% of its health, but will double the cooldown of Gamma Burst. The cooldown is already 30 seconds, so this is your largest cooldown ability if you use it to revive. The final skill tree is Stalker, and this is about staying healthy and surviving. The pet is new to the series. It's the Jabber. It's a monkey-like creature that uses a pistol. It's not written here, but also if barrels are around, it will walk over to them, pick them up and throw them at the nearest enemy. While the Jabber is out, your movement speed will be increased by 5%, and if you issue an attack command, the Jabber will throw a radiation barrel at enemies, but this is separate to the barrels it can pick up around the level. The ability is Fade Away, and when you activate it, it turns Flak invisible. If Flak fires while invisible, they will automatically be critical hits. And you can get up to 3 of them, but without investment, you can only get 1 before the fade drops. While invisible, you also get a 25% extra movement speed buff, and you get 3% of your maximum health per second regenerated, and it lasts 15 seconds. The cooldown is 45 seconds, and you can kind of see how this ability would absolutely destroy when combined with crit-based Jacob weapons and the Hunter skill tree. Speaking of the Hunter skill tree, let's now go back and check it out. In the interest of time, I'll be skipping over the exact increases you get from each skill, but you can pause the video to see for yourself. The first skill you can invest in is Interplanetary Stalker, and it's based around killing. The more you kill, the stronger or faster Flak gets depending on exactly what they killed. It's just a nice skill to have. However, Leave No Trace I feel is an essential pickup for the Hunter tree as it feeds into the mechanic and feeds your guns. Playing this game for over 15 hours already, I can tell you that the ammo does become a problem in the harder fights, so getting good at critting will make it that your shotguns and your snipers will stay topped up. I say shotguns and snipers because adding one round to fast firing weapons really won't help, and there's some other skills that really benefit the snipers or the shotguns. Next is Second Intention, and it helps if you plan to get a lot of critical hits with that powerful Jacobs shotgun. This is my favorite gun so far in Borderlands 3, and having that extra reload definitely helps. I would choose this over Interplanetary Stalker unless you have points to spare. Getting this far in Hunter unlocks the first skill augment, Rack Open a Cold One. It turns the rack's damage into cryo, and let me tell you, this absolutely kicks ass in Borderlands 3. I don't know why, but cryo just seems much more powerful. Slowing and straight up freezing enemies is the way to go. Hunter's Eye further feeds into different bonuses for different enemies' mechanic. The percentages are nothing to scoff at. Head count is only 3-point investment and makes it so that when you score a crit, which I'm hoping you get all the time down this tree, there's a 1 in 3 chance that your action skill cooldown is reduced. If you get good and if you're lucky enough, you should be spamming those racks like you're some kind of bird lord. Ambush Preorder is if you want to run a sniper build. It's a massive bonus, but it really only applies once. I don't see the reason to pick this up unless you absolutely want to be a primary hit and run sniper. The next augment is Falconers Feast. Keep in mind, each skill can have up to 2 augments attached. This one returns 7% of your max health when you use it. With 2 charges, that's 14%, and with 3, that's 21%. I feel like this tree is more about damage, but a top up to health can't hurt. Two Fang is up next, and it feels absolutely broken. 1 in 4 shots will be doubled. This is especially powerful with hard hitting weapons like shotguns, launchers and snipers, though you'll notice it with any gun. I don't see why you wouldn't pick this up if you head down Hunter. Now we get to the first evolution, so unequip the standard Spider Ant and pick up the Scorcher. This pet will do area of effect fire damage and give Flak health regeneration and elemental damage resistance. If you issue it an attack command, it will spin at the target and carry its fire along with it. The next augment, Flock and Load, essentially doubles the rack's damage output by adding 2 extra racks to each skill use. Big Game boosts all of Flak's hunter skills, including kill skills, by a large amount. Pick it up if you go this far. Enough said. The Most Dangerous Game is another kill skill, and it makes it so when you kill a badass or stronger enemy, you get a bounty of cash and a huge damage and handling bonus for a long time. Put the other 2 points in here. The final evolution for the Spider Ant is the Countess. It does more damage than the others, and it will cause Flak to regenerate health and have a 5% damage reduction. When you issue an attack command, the Countess will burrow underground and emerge at the target, dealing corrosive damage in an area of effect. The final action skill is Rackcelerate, which decreases the cooldown of the ability and adds an extra charge. If you use the racks, you 100% need to equip this one. What you put with it is up to you though. Cryo damage for a bit of utility, health regen if you find yourself needing the boost, or extra rack if you want the flat damage increase. Galactic Shadow is next, and it flat increases your critical hit damage by 15% for a single point. Get it. Do it. Now! What are you waiting for? Grim Harvest is next, and it flat increases gun and action skill damage by a large amount. Straightforward and very delicious. The final ability of the Hunter tree is Megavore. It makes it so you have a 20% chance to crit no matter where you shoot your target. I know what you're thinking, get good and you won't need to use this. Well, let me tell you, there are some enemies that won't let you hit their critical points all the time. So this, coupled with all the bonuses to criticals, is extremely lethal. Jacobs brand weapons bounce to the nearest enemy target when you crit, so damn if this doesn't absolutely wreck shop. So that's the Hunter skill tree, and you can see there's a lot of abilities that focus around making Flak dish out more damage. So if you're going a crit based build, I recommend running the fade away ability and buffing that, as coming out of Cloak, you will be always critting and the chaos that follows is just crazy, especially with the Jacobs guns. Now, if you go hard down Hunter, your racks will be lethal at range, so you probably can go snipers and do absolutely crazy damage to distant enemies. So next up is the Master skill tree. Ferocity just flat increases your pet damage by a large amount. You want to focus on your pets, right? Persistent Hunter increases your gun damage and action skill duration, good if you aren't investing heavily in this tree. Go for the Eyes makes it so your pet will always crit on their first melee attack. Keep in mind the Jabber doesn't always melee and it has weapons based on its evolution. So this is a good skill if you want to focus on pets. The first augment to the Gamma Burst ability is Atomic Aroma, and it makes it so your pet has a radiation aura around it when Gamma Burst is active. More damage is good. Who Rescued Who makes it so you both heal each other when you attack. This is a needed skill to keep your pet alive during hard fights. The more damage you deal, the more it heals, so it scales with the content. He Bites gives your pet a Diablo-like Thorns effect. If anything attacks it, they will take 15% of the damage back. So the Gamma Burst ability gets your pet in their face, then the pet tanks it with Who Rescued Who, and deals the pain right back. Frenzy makes it so the more Flak's pet attacks, the more stacks of damage increase they both get, capping at a massive 40% increase, which is nothing to scoff at so early on. However, the stacks decay fairly quickly. The next action skill augment is Empathetic Rage, and it gives Flak extra damage while Gamma Burst is active. Simple but effective. Psycho Head on a Stick makes it so that when Flak kills an enemy, your pet gets increased speed and damage, a must get for a single point. Hive Mind makes it so that when Flak takes damage, 15% of it is shared to your pet. This means burst attacks like explosions will not drop you as easily, and Who Rescued Who will get you healthy again. The first Skag evolution is the Great Horned Skag. It's larger and will increase Flak's damage and gun damage. If you issue the Horned Skag an attack command, it will charge your enemy and knock them into the air, making it easy for you to unload on them. The next skill augment is Endurance, and it makes it so if you get a kill while Gamma Burst is active, the duration is extended and pet damage is increased, stacking up to 50%. I don't need to tell you that this is insane when there are a lot of scrub enemies around. Barbaric Yap doubles any pet bonuses you get, so if you get a damage increase, you'll be getting even more. Health regen, double that heal, you get the point. Mutated Defense makes it so that if Flak's pet is nearly dead, it gets massive damage reduction and regeneration. The skill says it has a long cooldown, but it's only 15 seconds, meaning that your pet will survive longer than you will. The final evolution is the Iridian Skag, and it increases Flak's damage and fire rate when it's out. The coolest thing about this Skag though is that when you issue an attack command, it generates a singularity and sucks in all nearby enemies. This works amazingly if you have that skill, He Bites, as the Thorns damage will really add up. The final augment is Burst Aid, and it makes it so the Rift remains in the location you casted Gamma Burst for the entire duration of the skill. The Rift regenerates you and your allies' health rapidly while you're next to it. When I say rapidly, I mean 20% of your max health a second, so you'll be fully healed in 5. That is absolutely insane, and it can't be overstated more. I see this as being the premium heal in massive boss fights. Unless you never take damage somehow, which I doubt, always have this slotted if you have this unlocked. Pack Tactics increases Flak and your pet's damage and the max health by 15% respectively, which is insane for 3 points. Get it. Just get it. Shared Spirit for 1 point makes it so that when Flak is at low health, 50% of all damage taken is sent to your pet. This stacks with the 15% prior, making it so you shrug off 65% of all damage taken. Granted, your pet is still alive, but then you can always Gamma Burst to resurrect them, fully heal with Burst Aid. It's, yeah, insane. Now, the final master ability is the juicy one, and probably why you're all here. Dominance overrides your melee skill, so you will no longer be able to melee in the standard way. Instead, Flak dominates the enemy, converting him like you're a priest in Age of Empires 2 for 12 seconds, 24 seconds if it's a beast you're targeting. So on Eden 6, you can dominate those badass T-Rexes for 24 seconds and have them do your bidding. Yeah, you can dominate badasses too. Not sure if you can dominate bosses, but an enemy can be dominated only once, and while dominated, it loses 2% of its max HP a second, making it a great way of dealing damage too on harder enemies. Nothing will be cooler than turning a badass against its friends. So the master skill tree is all about strengthening the potential of you and your pet. Your pet will be doing massive damage, especially out of gamma burst, and you'll be dishing out the pain as well and taking it fairly effectively as long as your pet remains alive. If things go sour, you can rapidly heal with burst aid and dominate the enemies giving you trouble. The final skill tree is Stalker. Self-repairing system increases Flak's maximum health and gives Flak a health regen. It's just an all-around good skill. Sikkim reduces the cooldown of your pet's attack commands and increases the damage they do with it. It works well with the master skill tree investment. Furious Attack is a stacking gun damage and handling buff when you shoot an enemy. It can get fairly large and will favor faster firing weapons. We've seen skills that favor slower firing ones, so it's refreshing having the option. The first skill augment for Fade Away is Gorillas in the Mist, and I feel this is necessary for crit builds. It makes it so Fade Away doesn't end after you attack, but reduces crit damage and the duration. However, you can now use the skill offensively rather than defensively. Get behind something with that Jacob shotgun and unleash hell, you'll clear out the room completely. Eager to Impress makes it so you reduce action skill cooldowns when you kill an enemy, and when your pet kills an enemy, the action skill cooldown is reduced even more, as well as the attack command cooldown being completely refreshed. This combos well with the master skill tree as well. So you can see so far the Stalker skill tree has a lot of synergy with the others. All My BFFs gives Flak's allies 50% of your health regeneration, and Flak's pets get 100% of it. Massive if you're built really tanky. Overclock gives Flak a flat fire rate increase, and it further increases after reloading. This is another skill that encourages faster firing weapons. Just be careful with your ammo. The second augment is Not My Circus. After Fade Away ends, your pet will taunt all enemies in a huge radius and also get an 80% damage reduction during it. You would think the Thorns damage skill would combo well with this. Well, it returns damage it's dealt, and 80% very much reduces that. It's still a great augment to get, and it still gets you out of trouble in a lot of cases. Lick the Wounds will make it so your pet will revive you when you're downed. If you get this far in Stalker, get this skill. I can attest, it's so damn useful unless you're playing with a lot of friends that are on the ball. Even so, it's useful. Turn Tail and Run encourages you to keep moving when you're hurt and to stand still when you're not, as it gives you regeneration and damage while you're moving, and gun damage and fire rate increases when you're still. It works well with the rest of the survivability skills. The first Jabber evolution is the Beefcake Jabber, which is a Jabber with a shotgun. It also increases Flak's movement speed and max health. When you issue an attack command, it melees the target and knocks them back. Until You're Dead makes it so the health regeneration and movement speed stick around after Fade Away has faded away. Keeps you more alive. The Fast and the Furious is where you start to see how all this survivability can pay off. You get big gun damage and movement speed increases when you're above half health, which shouldn't be hard considering you have so much regeneration now and even more to come. Hidden Machine works well with that taunt, as if an enemy isn't targeting you or isn't targeting anything, you do a lot of increased damage. The final Jabber is the Gunslinger. Equipped with an SMG, it rips through targets. If you issue an attack command, it gets out of the rocket launcher and fires a salvo of rockets at the target. Having this pet out increases your movement speed and critical hit damage. The final augment is the Unblinking Eye. It makes it so each hit increases the next by 75% up to 3 times, at which time it resets. That's a massive damage increase in Fade Away and couples well with the Gorillas in the Mist augment. Personally, that would be my go-to combination if I invested this far in Stalker. The next skill is Rage and Recover. After killing an enemy, Flak and your pet regenerate a large amount of health based on how much you've lost, which means bigger heal the more damaged you are. Doesn't sound flash, but it'll keep you healthy. The final skill in the Stalker tree is the Power Inside. It makes it so you and your pet get a massive damage increase for a long time when you use your action skill. If you're at full health, it's doubled. Naturally, this damage increase favors fast firing weapons that can take advantage of it. So that's the Stalker tree. It's going to make you tanky as hell and favor fast firing weapons. It has a lot of crossover with the other trees, so you'll most likely invest a few points here and there for your build if you don't run a primary Stalker. So what build are you going to run? See anything that stands out to you? Personally, I'm excited to go all the way down the master skill tree and dip a little bit into Stalker. Keep in mind, a lot of these skills will combo well with other characters, so keep co-op in mind. So thanks for watching, guys. If you liked this video, be sure to hit that bell button as I have a ton more content on the way, an absolute ton. A like on the video also really helps. Talk to me on Discord directly or tweet at me. I can't wait to bring you more Borderlands 3 and other RPGs, so stay tuned.